very, very anxious, very, um, especially early on, like the first few days, I felt like not normal because, my normalcy came from, my addiction. When
Being,
I drink and
mhm.
use, that's what feels normal. Taking a drink or using feels normal. So I remember um, at the beginning, it felt like uneasy, a lot of anxiousness, a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, a lot of old feelings, and a lot of old situations would come back up.
And how long would those feelings last? Was it the whole day, or was it a portion of the day?
I think both. It just depends on where my mind went. So, and I I, I understand now somewhat that a lot of my using and drinking is from prior traumas,
Mhm.
prior from some childhood stuff and some adult stuff. So um, a lot of those things they came to some they would just come in spurts. Sometimes they'd come in spurts. A lot of times they would just last. When they got to a point where they would last too long, that's when I have to,
Drink again, or
yeah. So I had to drink again or find something a little bit more stronger,
mhm,
to deal with the anxiety or the anger or the pain, the sadness that would come upon me
mhm.
when I didn't have anything to mask it or cover those emotions.
Cover those emotions up?
Hmm.
Okay. Um. So with that being said, so those days you were sober, it seems like you had some difficulty, with those emotions and the negative thoughts and the traumas coming up since you weren't, masking it. Um, so, what was the good things you accomplished during them times? You said there was less brain fog. What were you able to accomplish?
Well, I was able to get back to, I was able to do some of my responsibilities. I was
Hmm.
able to like, be present for, some of the family or
Hmm.
present in, some of my past
Hmm.
relationships. Um,
And what did the present look like? What did it look like?
well, just being able to talk,
Okay.
being able to eat,
Hmm.
my hygiene, able to shower and
Okay.
just have a regular conversation with people in my family. You know, at times when I had my job, I was able to actually show up to work,
Uh-huh.
because I had a little clarity. Um, it felt like I was just able to, um, sit down
Sit down.
and maybe just relax and kind of do something normal that they
Okay.
call
That they
normal.
call normal.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. And that felt like a big deal to you in
It
those.
did. It did. It felt like a big deal. It felt like, the past. It felt like, because I wasn't always an addict.
Hmm.
There was a time
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
a lot of people, especially people that are addicts and some of the people that I run with that drink and do other things, a lot of sometimes we talk about, there was times where we weren't addicts
Yeah.
and that you know, we dream about getting back to the place of where we were before that. Like
Hmm.
how were we? How did we act? How did we relate to people? How did we act?
And you were in that dream in that moment.
Yeah, in that moment, yes. Well, so like
Those
when
the
every once in a while we would talk like, how did we? How were we? How were we before this?